like everything else, though, Esau's being exposed. As Mel Gibson, who's among the Edomites, has been exposing other Edomites of their crimes. It's just been kind of, you know, in the midst of everything as this video goes into. Shalom. First and foremost, like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And shout out to the Akians out there in the four quarters of the earth to proclaim this truth. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash, Barak Tam. So, one guy who's been getting away with it for a very long time, Tom Hanks. And that devil has really been exposed lately. And Mel Gibson ain't pulling no punches.
Hollywood ambassador Mel Gibson has vowed to expose and dismantle the child trafficking epidemic and the adrenochrome industry that has plagued Hollywood for decades. But first, there are thousands of innocent children to be rescued. Children whose lives are on the verge of being destroyed by the paedophile elite of the industry. Mel Gibson is already delivering on his promise to take on the child trafficking epidemic. He recently spearheaded a raid on a notorious trafficking network, rescuing dozens of children from a sophisticated tunnel system that coincidentally connects to Tom Hanks' property, one of the few homes left standing in the aftermath of recent devastation. As more dark connections continue to surface, investigators are being confronted with chilling questions. What terrifying truths lie beneath the glittering facade of Hollywood? And how far will these powerful figures go to protect their secrets? Before we dive in, join the People's Voice.
So there you go, Tom Hanks is now getting exposed.
Farms in Ukraine in the past 2 years, and they began moving their operations elsewhere, including within the United States and Mexico. However, the Trump presidency has sparked a powerful wave of law enforcement action, targeting the horrific epidemic of child trafficking in the US. Now, the elites who thought they were untouchable are finding themselves cornered, as their dark secrets are finally coming to light. Special agents with Homeland Security investigations and the US Border Patrol found a sophisticated cross-border tunnel connecting El Paso, Texas to Mexico. Investigators confirmed that this tunnel was used to sex traffic children, and now forensic evidence has linked it to the child trafficking epidemic run out of the Hollywood entertainment industry in Los Angeles. According to CIA sources, 8 million children go missing in the world each and every year, the vast majority of them lost into a system of paedophilia and adrenochrome blood trafficking, while the mainstream media downplay the gravity of the epidemic to protect their overlords from public scrutiny. To the criminal elite, children are now a more valuable commodity than drugs, and in Hollywood, children operate as a unit of currency, according to Mel Gibson, who warns the industry elites, including many household names, regularly feast on the blood of children, who are trafficked through a vast underground tunnel network using various means of transportation. For years, the media has worked tirelessly to bury the truth, but recent events have shattered their narrative. Hollywood actress Penelope Ann Miller, who stars in the new movie Reagan, accidentally revealed something chilling. Hollywood elites have secret tunnels running beneath their homes. It's a slip-up that exposed far more than she intended.
Yeah, but we're vulnerable. But we're vulnerable to looters because we're not allowed to be in our homes to protect our own homes.
So do they have checkpoints and are they blocking off the roads and stuff like that?
Like, if they catch you, like, literally my husband and I went, like we were underground, going through tunnels or going through, like, codes and weird ways and hopping fences, and I have a torn ACL right now, and I'm literally, like, hopping a fence to try and get into my own home.
Ask yourself, when it comes to the elites, do you believe in miracles and coincidences? According to the mainstream media, Tom Hanks' Hollywood home was saved by a miracle, while his neighbours weren't so lucky.
And this guy is a big-time pedophile. Tom Hanks has been doing it for years with Steven Spielberg.
Investigators claim Tom Hanks' home remains standing amidst the devastation because, while the elite are determined to burn the world to the ground and build back better, they are equally determined to shield themselves and bury the evidence of their crimes. Hanks and his elite allies have a lot to hide, and now they appear to have perfected their method. A forensic arborist has revealed a chilling pattern. Nearly all wildfires in California, since the infamous Paradise Fires, can be traced back to the use of directed energy weapons, raising alarming questions about who is truly behind these so-called natural disasters.
The twigs, the needles, the branches, even the trees will burn down, sometimes to a low stump or even a hole in the ground. Not like this one. This was the big Coffee Park fire in Santa Rosa, where 4,700 homes were turned to white ash. And look at the trees. Why aren't they missing along with the houses? Many of these are pine family relatives. Eucalyptus against that road there, or whatever that is, against the road. Those are eucalyptus back there, the round ones. Those are so flammable, a cigarette lighter in your hand can light those on fire. A green leaf, light them right on fire. The forest is primarily valley oak, blue oak, and California bay, which is a very combustible leaf. I could light them on fire again as a cigarette lighter. They didn't burn. There's a bay tree right there. The bottoms will always be burned right at ground level. No reason for that. Grass couldn't do that. Right. A lot of flames to do that. Now they're being cooked right where they're at. Here's a fence line. They all look like this. Burned at the nails, burned at the ground. The only place they burn is at the ground and wherever the metals were. What fire does that? A normal fire would burn the post from the bottom up, not skip spots. No, they favor the metals, of course.
Yeah,
this is a tall
this
post,
was in our videos not too long ago.
High level, just the nail area burn. Here's this board. What really burned? The nails on that board. This little guardrail is a park guardrail, and actually it's all wood. There's no metal here.
Because we have the 100% truth here at Great Millstone.
And each one was burned like this, where the screws were. Many trees are.
You cannot fool the elect.
They're burned on the inside, and there's no hole to get a flame in there. This thing was about 4 feet in diameter in a spring, burned from the inside out, and not one leaf burned. When you look at the cuts, this is very important.
And
these are 90%
as said before, carved fire was one of the first like this.
It shows me these things were cooked from the inside out. Here's a soil bag. It still had soil in it. That was there. The tennis shoe was there. And you see the black. There's black everywhere.
Paradise fire, you name it.
Chainsaw in the back of this pickup truck. The window melted out at 2,500 degrees. All the tires burned completely, leaving the slinky-like steel belts. That plastic should be gone completely, down to the metals. Didn't happen.
There's so much white ash in some of these photos. It looks like the heat would have been really intense. However, it didn't reach very far.
Why is that? Why is everything reduced to white ash versus...
Well, I'm going to have to say it's because the extreme heat. It's a different kind of flame. To me, these are microwave-based flames.
These fires are not random acts of nature. They were engineered by the elite to transform Los Angeles into a network of dystopian 15-minute cities.
Yep.
Perfectly timed for the 2028 Olympics. The evidence is clear. This is the first step in their sinister Build Back Better agenda, starting in LA and soon spreading to cities everywhere else. But the elite want it all. While the world burns, their chosen few, those complicit in their evil agenda, will be spared, enjoying safety and privilege while everyone else is left to suffer. The massive help signs crafted from debris in Los Angeles are far from the work of a random individual. They're calculated cries for attention, aimed at exposing a dark and horrifying reality that most people can't begin to fathom. The coordinates of these sites align with a location already known to law enforcement, a place where 80 children were previously rescued from unimaginable circumstances. This isn't speculation, it's an undeniable truth that demands the public's attention.
Yep. Sound of freedom was just scratching the surface. To play the good cop, even though Donald Trump has been known to be a pedophile, he's now just letting them get exposed. Why is that? You know, bad cop.
Pointing to a vast trafficking network that operates in the shadows, with the protection and likely complicity of powerful institutions. Notice a telltale symbol circling the LA Sheriff's badge. The mainstream media, law enforcement, and even tech companies are actively working to suppress this information because it implicates them. The tide is turning, and a dedicated team of truth seekers and industry insiders is stepping up to expose the global operation that's been hiding in plain sight for far too long. Major moves are happening as we speak, and the walls are closing in on those who thought they were untouchable. After the break, we'll hear from an insider who was part of the recent raid that rescued dozens of children. A first-hand account that you won't want to miss.
So, like everything else, we're in that time, you know. Things are speeding up, and Esau's being exposed. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 10. I just have to bring this out as, you know, that video is showing. But I have stripped Esau bare. I have uncovered his hiding places, so that he is not able to conceal himself. Conceal himself, right? These pedophiles that have been walking around for free for far too fucking long are now being exposed. His seed has been destroyed along with his relatives and his neighbors, and he is no more. And that's a future prophecy. See, like everything else, though, the Most High Yahweh is about to destroy, to punish Esau. And we see it building up. I'll get to the rest of these verses in just a bit here, because Esau is in that time that he's going to be exposed. So like everything else, though, you know, we're watching it happen in real time. But here's, you know, we talked about FEMA camps and where they're really sending people, right? Trump to send deported migrants to Guantanamo. And you already know how bad Guantanamo Bay is. The notorious U.S. military detention camp in Cuba will house up to 30,000 people, according to the president. U.S. President Trump announced plans to expand detention facilities of the country's offshore naval base in Guantanamo Bay to accommodate thousands of deported immigrants. Trump argued on Wednesday that some individuals are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back. So, hey, by the way, if you're just accused of it, you might end up there. This is Jacob's trouble, and it's going to intensify here on out. But wait, there's more. The Most High is punishing Esau because check this one out. I'm sure you caught this. DC plane crash. No survivors expected. Soldiers had night vision goggles. So these devils, hey, Most High is punishing Esau. Because you see what his plans are, and he's punishing them.
Breaking news coverage of that deadly midair collision overnight in Washington, D.C. We've learned just moments ago that there are no survivors. This is now recovering. Newly appointed Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy spoke moments ago.
No more will Esau go unpunished. The Most High is going to punish Esau.
If you live in the D.C. area, you'll see helicopters up and down the river. This flight pattern is seen oftentimes when you live in D.C.
Fuck Esau.
Last night as well. The American airline flight coming into land was in a standard...
And you 2/3 that are joined out of Esau, fuck you too.
So this was not unusual with a military aircraft flying the river and aircraft landing at the
Yeah, nothing unusual here.
Gio Benitez, and Gio, that's why there's so many questions here. Everything seemed to be normal.
Yeah, so normal.
And that's what's so shocking about this, George. And
Yeah,
he
very
said that
shocking.
everything appeared to be normal. He also said, remember I said earlier that it appeared to be a clear night? Well, he says it was, in fact, a clear night. So what happened here? Now, we do have a grim update. Of course, we told you that there are no survivors at this point that we know of, but they have recovered at least 27 bodies from the plane's wreckage, at least one body from the helicopter's wreckage. Now, to just describe how tragic and awful this crash was, the American aircraft's fuselage was actually found inverted, and it was in 3 different sections underwater. And so no doubt about it, they are looking at this and trying to figure out what happened. The American airline CEO said they don't know why the military aircraft actually came into the path of the plane, guys.
They just don't know why. Fatalities reported as U.S. passenger jet, military copter collide near Reagan Airport. American passenger plane and military copter collide near Reagan Washington National Airport in Arlington, with authorities yet to confirm any possible casualties. Well, like everything else though, it's hilarious. So I think that they got in real time as to what happened though, so it was a collision. So they're going to... there it is. Boom. Fuck yeah. U.S. government gets special AI. Hey, like everything else, so you're going to hear more and more about it. They are fast tracking it. ChatGPT Gov is designed to handle sensitive data in secure environments. OpenAI launched a dedicated ChatGPT client for the U.S. government, aiming to allow agencies to enter sensitive information into artificial intelligence models in secure environments, following the success of its rival DeepSeek. So like everything else though, DeepSeek is banned because, well, China has a better model. And, well, you got this nationalist here that just wants America to be great again, right? Make America great again? Trump positioning for no deal with Russia. That's what they're questioning. Is Trump positioning for no deal with Russia? Trump's rhetoric about Russia having lost 1 million men in Ukraine conflict is just bullshit. But his resort to its underlines that the usual meme of Trump being just woefully misinformed is looking less and less plausible. After touting the 1 million Russian deaths, Trump then suggests that Putin is destroying Russia by not making a deal, adding that Putin may have already made his mind to not make a deal. Well, if you can't come up with a reasonable deal, right? Instead, in curious, disinterested way, Trump remarks that negotiations would depend entirely on whether Putin is interested or not. He interested? no, I don't like your proposal. You know, so that's about what's going on there. Israeli terrorists killed more than 80 Palestinians in Gaza since ceasefire went into effect. Since the Gaza ceasefire went into effect on 19th of January, Israeli terrorists have killed more than 80 Palestinians across the Strip. Dr. Waladi, director of information for Gaza's health ministry, told Drop site that 49 of the dead were killed by Israeli terrorists in the southern city of Rafah, while many bodies remain buried under the rubble. So, you know, just continuous, slaughter, you know. And it never stops. Israeli drone strike in West Bank kills 10 Palestinians as violence intensifies. Ain't no goddamn ceasefire. Israeli drone strike in a village in the occupied West Bank killed at least 10 Palestinians and injured several others as the regime intensified its military assault in the region since ceasefire took place. Palestinian Health Ministry, in a statement on Thursday, said there are 10 martyrs due to the occupation's bombing of the town of Tamun in the Tubas district in the northern West Bank. Israeli use of jet fire to strike the rural village of Tamun marked the latest escalation in its intensifying crackdown on Palestinians in the occupied territory. So like everything else though, you know, still continuing on with the ethnic cleansing. And so here we go. Here's the hypocrisy of the Israeli state since the so-called ceasefire, right?
Now, Gaza's path to recovery might be jeopardized by Israel's decision to shutter the UN Relief and Works Agency, both in the enclave and over in the West Bank. Israel's ban on the agency UNRWA comes into effect today. So let's now cross live to UNRWA Communications Director Juliette Tuma. Juliette, thank you so much for joining us today. This is obviously terrible, really, news that we're hearing that UNRWA has to halt its activities today because Israel's put that deadline on them. But I guess the main question that we need to ask is, what kind of effect is this going to have on the Palestinians?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Look, our teams on the ground, whether it's in the Gaza Strip or across the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, they are continuing with the delivery of services. We don't have much idea on how the Israeli government plans, if it does want to plan, in the implementation of this bill.
So we don't know if they'll actually physically make you stop. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so you see, we haven't received any communications from the government of Israel on how it will implement this bill. And
well,
our focus right now.
That sounds like a positive thing, that maybe they've forgotten, they were too busy. I don't think so, though. Julia, you know, let's talk a little bit about since the ceasefire started. We've heard that a lot of aid is getting in. Is that true? Is enough aid getting in? What's UNRWA doing right now for the people in Gaza?
So over the past 10 days, since the ceasefire started, we have seen indeed an increase, a significant increase in the flow of humanitarian aid that was brought into Gaza, distributed to people. 60% of all aid that came in was brought in by UNRWA and distributed to reach hundreds of thousands of people, including in areas that we were not able to access before, like northern Gaza. So that's very welcome. Now, if this ban on UNRWA comes into effect, then the fate of the ceasefire is going to be put in jeopardy, because we are the largest humanitarian organization in Gaza.
That's actually a question that I was wondering that perhaps you could answer, because, as you said, one of the stipulations for the ceasefire was to get aid into Gaza. So if they do block you, I mean, if somebody comes down today and picks up everybody up that works for UNRWA, by the way, approximately how many people are working in that area?
We've got 13,000 people working for the agency in Gaza. That was before the war. Just under half of them are working, so we have, give or take, 5,000 people working with us in the humanitarian operation. And yes, you're absolutely right. If the agency is banned from working in a place like Gaza, then yes, the ceasefire that's currently ongoing, that we really hope that it would continue, the fate of that ceasefire, however, is going to be in serious jeopardy.
Indeed, indeed. You know, I wonder, You said at the beginning there that around 60% of the aid that gets to the Gazans comes through UNRWA. What's the other 40%? Is there another organization out there, God forbid that Israel does in fact remove you from 5,000 people, removes you from Gaza? Is there an alternative agency out there that can help these people?
There isn't. UNRWA is by far the largest. The second organization in the United Nations in Gaza, as one example, has just over 200 people. We have over 5,000, right? So we have also the reach across the Gaza Strip, and we have something that is often underreported, and that is the trust of the communities in Gaza. They know UNRWA, they trust UNRWA. For them, UNRWA is life-saving. It's the doctor, it's the nurse, it's the person who's giving them a box of food or of aid. So there is that trust, which is very unique to UNRWA.
All right, Julian, while I have you, if, for example, Israel does say, look, we banned UNRWA, there's nothing you can do about it, are you expecting, do you have anyone that has your back? Does the United Nations Council, the Security Council, or anybody in Brussels, do they have your back? Will they pressurize Israel into keeping you in the country?
Look, there's been excellent solidarity from countries around the world and from within the United Nations to help with not implementing this bill, to put pressure so that this bill is not implemented. So let's see what happens. But meanwhile, our focus in UNRWA is to stay and deliver as much as we can to people who depend on UNRWA for their sheer survival.
Juliet, are you guys just in Gaza now, or are you also, we're hearing trouble in Jenin, in the West Bank. Are UNRWA operating okay there?
We operate in 5 areas of operation. We have offices in Syria, in Lebanon, in Jordan, in the occupied Palestinian territory. That includes the Gaza Strip, and also indeed in the occupied West Bank. The situation in Jenin camp is very, very bad, and it continues to go from bad to worse. Most of residents of the camp in Jenin have left the camp, and we had to stop our operations, for example, schools and clinics, because people left the camp and because it was too risky.
Yeah, very, very disturbing indeed. I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us today. Juliet Suma, UNRWA Director of Communications. A pleasure. Thanks.
So, like everything else, there's no end in sight, right? Because that's how it's going to be here on out. Because, again, we know that, indeed, things are going to get worse over here, too, in Babylon. Trump's forced displacement plan for Gaza poses a serious threat to the region. This is coming from Yemen, while other countries do support Gaza, this is the main fighting country with Syria out of the way. Yemen's Ansarullah resistance movement, and of course Hezbollah, but they've been hit hard too. Yemen's Ansarullah resistance movement says U.S. President Trump's recent proposal to forcibly expel Palestinians from Gaza to Arab countries poses a threat to West Asia. The talk of displacing the Palestinians to neighboring countries is a serious threat to the region and is rejected by Palestinians, Arabs internationally humanely, Ansarullah spokesman said on Wednesday. He also noted that Washington is acting outside the framework of international law, and its efforts to liquidate the Palestinian cause are doomed to fail as they did in the past. Well, like everything else, we know that, this more than anything else is going to lead to the bigger woe that come. It's all going to be in that region, but mostly going to be right there in Syria. On Saturday, Trump touted a plan to clean out the Gaza Strip and relocate its residents to Jordan, Egypt, either temporary or long-term. So, total ethnic cleansing. Now, like everything else, though, it looks like Syria does have a new president there. That other guy has named a new president. I'm not sure what that person's name is, but nonetheless, though, Syria's Al-Qaeda branch dissolved, says goals completed by the regime change. The Salafat jihadist group official announced on Tuesday that it is dissolving, saying its goals were complete following the regime change that ousted former President Bashar al-Assad. The sons of the Al-Qaeda Jihad organization rushed to support the people of the Levant and assist them in removing injustice from their until. The group said Al-Qaeda had ordered it to dissolve in light of the developments in the Levantine scene. So like everything else, though, you know, they it's a false victory indeed. Oh, and get this though, this is what they're asking for. Syrian officials ask Russia to pay compensation and to hand over Bashar al-Assad. Russian officials said talks were generally positive, but there had been no progress. No progress has been made yet on the fate of Moscow's bases in Syria. You know, so like everything else though, they want Bashar al-Assad. Russian delegation made an official visit to Damascus on the 28th of January for the first time since the collapse of former President Bashar al-Assad and the fall of Syria to extremist groups. Terrorists, pretty much. Syrian officials reportedly requested compensation and that Russia hand over Bashar al-Assad to authorities in Damascus, according to Reuters. The delegation was led by Russian Foreign Minister Bogdanov. During the meeting, Bogdanov met with the de facto ruler of Syria and head of HTS operations, you know, Abu Mohammed al-Jilani, as well as Syria's Minister of Health and Foreign Affairs. The meeting was generally good. It lasted 3 hours and involved an official dinner. In general, the meeting was constructive and the atmosphere was positive, Bogdanov told reporters. So, like everything else, I don't think they'll be handing over Bashar al-Assad. I mean, why would they just, you know, take him and then just hand him over? It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But like everything else, though, and I am going to put this on my other channels as well. You know, I've been on BitChute, Rumble, and Odysee. You know, again, you know, if you don't see me on YouTube, it's because of the bullshit that goes on there. But, you know, some videos I think I can get on YouTube. But for the most part, though, I'm on those other channels, you know. You know, so here we are, though, that, you know, we're in the time that Esau is about to be punished by the Most High himself, Yahweh. Verse 12, Jeremiah chapter 49. But thus says Yahweh, behold, those who are not under judgment, which are the Israelites, to drink of the cup will certainly drink it. But you are the one who will go completely unpunished. You will not go unpunished, but you will certainly drink it, you know. These Edomites just think that they can keep on going unpunished. Verse 15, for behold, I have made you small among the nations, despised among men. As for the terror of you, the arrogance of your heart has deceived you. O you who dwell in the clefts of the rock, who seize the height of the hill, though you make your nest as high as an eagle's, I will bring you down from there, declares Yahweh. So like everything else, though, you know, you know, this recent aircraft that was brought down, it's just the beginning of things, you know. This DC plane crash, it's just the beginning of things, you know. Because again, you know, Esau is about to be removed from his place by way of that third woe. So hopefully this has all been edifying. There's a few articles here and just thought I'd share. But then I want to say Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, and you know where to find me. BitChute, Odysee, and Rumble. Links down below. Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, Wa Abab Babal. Brakatham, Jehovah Elect, Shalom.